Hey everyone, this is Friedel Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Digimon Ghost Game Anime Season number 1, Episode number 3, which is titled Scribbles. Now, we didn't get an episode the previous week because I think there was some sort of holiday going on in Japan. I'm not really sure, but yeah, the anime is back, and in Scribbles, basically, we have this Digimon who ends up liking playing these pranks on humans, and how he goes about playing these pranks is that when humans end up taking a picture, there's these weird scribbles that show up on a picture. Like we have a scribble over here in red, and then we have another picture that has these scribbles all over this woman's hair. So basically, anyone who has these scribbles on, well, they're in danger. Something bad happens to them. This was giving me horror movie vibes. Like we have seen horror movies like this. Like The Ring, where you basically something happens to you through a picture, or something happens to you through another film or media content that you watch. So I really like the concept of using these selfies or pictures, and basically the picture showing you that you know what, something bad is going to happen to you, so you better be careful. So the people who we get to see in these images, and they have these scribbles on them, they all go through something. One of them goes through an accident. This woman's hair continues to grow, and yeah, it's quite well done for a kids show that's more horror centric. It's quite well done. Then we get a picture of Ruri, and as you can see, the scribbles are on Ruri's fingers, and Ruri is quite weirded out about the entire thing. She's basically at a cafe, she's talking to her two friends, and she's like, why is this picture so weird? Because one of their followers ended up sending this picture and asking Ruri that, don't you think that this is weird? And Aoe, I think that's one of her friend's names. She ends up telling Ruri and the other friend about this weird thing that's happening with scribbles. Like people who have seen these scribbles on their images, something bad happens to them in like 48 hours. And she's like, you know what? But it's only a rumor, right? Because she doesn't want Ruri to be concerned, but Ruri is. And her friends are like, Ruri, you need to delete this picture and even delete the data from your phone. And Ruri does that. But that doesn't work. So we get to see Ruri in her house, and she's playing the piano. She's quite talented at it. And I'm like, Ruri, where are your parents, girl? But maybe her parents are away somewhere. But yeah, she's playing the piano, and it's like she senses that someone is looking at her. Standing outside, and she goes to the window, she looks outside, and yeah, there's no one there, but we as the viewers know that Angoramon, her Digimon, I think that's how you pronounce Angoramon's name. If that's not how you pronounce it, I apologize. It's going to take me time to get all of these pronunciations down. So Angoramon is basically looking at her. That's what I got from this particular scene, because we know that Angoramon is always around her, even if she can't see him yet. So she's like, oh, so there's nothing there. So she goes back inside, and yeah, she checks the phone. The picture has mysteriously returned, and she's like, wait, I deleted this picture, but no. But yeah, she notices there's something happening with her fingers on the picture, so she decides to look at her hand, and it turns out that her fingers are slowly disappearing. Which, I mean, Ruri is someone who likes the piano, and having this strangeness happening to her fingers, it's really doing a number on her. Of course, she's very, very worried about it. So it's the next day. She doesn't even come to school because of what's happening to her. And before that happens, we get this scene where it looks like this mysterious Digimon is looking at her from the digital world, and we get this menacing laugh. As of this particular moment, we don't know who this Digimon is. So yeah, it's the next day. Ruri's friends are worried about her not showing up, and it turns out that Ruri ended up going towards one of the other people who is going through something similar. Apparently, she's a woman who has a beauty salon, and Ruri is like, I need to talk to you because something strange is happening to me as well. And the woman is like, you know what, I can't help you because I can't find a way to help myself either. And Ruri is like, what's wrong with you though? And the woman is like, it has to do with my hair just keeps growing and growing and growing, and I fear that my hair is going to be the death of me because it won't stop growing. So again, another horror movie type trope. where we have this long, mysterious, scary hair. So I like seeing that reference in this episode. And she's like, I'm sorry, Ruri, I can't help you. So Ruri, of course, she's disappointed, but she has no other choice but to walk away. And yeah, we see Ruri. She's trying to figure out what to do. She checks online. There's nothing there to help her when it comes to getting rid of the scribbles, the red marks on photos. There's also this particular scene where she's like walking past. She's like near this trash heap and it moves, and she's being paranoid, and she runs away from the trash heap even though it was just a cat that made the trash bags move. So she's sitting under this tunnel per se. Yeah, and she's just like, yeah, she's lost. And again, I was like, Ruri, girl, where are your parents? Shouldn't you be talking about this with your parents? But yeah, she gets a phone call and it's one of her friends, and they were worried about Ruri, and they're like, Ruri, are you okay? Why didn't you come to school? Was it about what we told you yesterday? And Ruri is trying to put up a brave face for her friends. She's like, nah, there's nothing for you to worry about. I just had a headache. That's why I didn't come to school. And maybe the fact that Ruri doesn't really necessarily tell anything to her friends. Maybe she's a type of character that doesn't like being dependent on other people, and that's why she is also keeping all of this trouble from her parents. Maybe that's why she didn't tell her parents. Who knows? But yeah, the image of her scribbled fingers, it returns. She throws the phone away, and yeah, she is tired. She is like, why are you doing this to me? She can kind of sense that someone is looking at her, but she's also confused about the entire thing, because I think she feels that she's going paranoid. So she returns home. She tries to play the piano, but of course, because her fingers have begun to fade away, she can't touch the piano, because I guess her fingers are entering the digital world. So she goes outside to her terrace and she starts yelling, because again, she knows that someone is looking at her. Yeah, she yells and she's like, I know that you're doing this to me, so stop it, and all of that. And as she's yelling, she gets a message from Hiro, finally. And Hiro is like, Ruri, you don't know me, but I'm Hiro. I'm like a first-year student, and has something strange been happening to you? I would really like to talk. Because from the previous episode, we know that Hiro knows that there's a Digimon following Ruri around, and he wants to help her in any way he can. And because Ruri is going through all of this with her hands, she's like, yep. I'll meet you. So Ruri ends up meeting Hiro and Gamamon, and yeah, this is also where Hiro looks at Angoramon up close, and he's like, "Oh, this is a very big Digimon." So these two start talking about Digimon, and Hiro's like, I don't necessarily know a lot about Digimon. I'm trying to learn as we go. But yeah, Digimon are real. This is Gamamon, and Ruri is like, is this a stuffed animal, a hologram? And Gamamon ends up biting Ruri. So yeah, Gamamon is real, and this is also where Hiro tells Ruri that she also has a Digimon around her, even though she can't see him yet. And we get to see that Angoramon has been going into Ruri's device in order to capture the Digimon that's doing this to her, but to no avail. Angoramon is unable to capture that Digimon and protect Ruri. So we have this conversation between Hiro and Angoramon, and Ruri is trying to piece the puzzle, because she can't see Angoramon and she can't even listen to him. So the conversation is quite one-sided as far as Ruri is concerned. So yeah, Hiro and Angoramon talk about what Angoramon has been doing, and this is where Angoramon is like, yeah, the Digimon that's been harming Ruri is called Dracomon. I think it's Dracomon. Yeah. Dracomon likes playing pranks on human people, and apparently Dracomon wants to materialize in the real world. And a way that Dracomon thinks that might happen is that the more pranks that he plays on other people, on human beings, the more power he'll get, and he'll materialize in the human world. And Hiro is like, Angoramon, why don't you materialize? And Angoramon is like, you know what? I don't know how to materialize, and frankly, I'm not really interested. And he's also glad that because he hasn't learned how to materialize yet, as a Digimon, he can still harm Dracomon. So at least he has a chance to protect Ruri, because Dracomon, being a Digimon as well, he can't directly harm human beings. And that's why Angoramon is like, I can't touch a human being directly. And the same goes for Dracomon. So at least because of that, Ruri is protected as of now. So yeah, these two continue talking, and because Angoramon told Hiro about Dracomon's wish to materialize and trying to find a way to materialize, a light bulb switches on Hiro in Hiro's mind, and he's like, "Yep, I know how to lure Dracomon out." And again, I really appreciate Hiro being quite a smart protagonist, one of the leads. He's quite smart. He's the smart one of the group, because if this was another group or a cast of characters, we would have had a different smart characters. So because a whole lot of times the main lead, the main hero, isn't always the smart one in the group. So Hiro goes back to his dorm room and he picks up one of the vital bracelets and he decides to go back to Ruri. And as he's on his way, he ends up meeting Kyoshiro, and Kyoshiro's like, "Oh, that's a very stylish smartwatch you have. Does it have the ability to ward off evil and evil spirits?" And Hiro's like, no, it doesn't. And he runs away. And Kyoshiro is quite worried because apparently the talismans he has, those aren't working. And I'm like, Jellymon, yeah, it's Jellymon, right? Jellymon is really, really pulling pranks on him. And I'm like, Jellymon, you need to stop. So Hiro goes back to Ruri, Gamamon, and Angoramon, and this is where Hiro is like, "Okay, Ruri, this is a vital bracelet. This is what's going to help you help a Digimon materialize and help you start seeing Digimon as well." And as Hiro is talking, he's basically using the vital bracelet to lure Dracomon out, and it works. Dracomon does come out, and Dracomon tries to snatch the bracelet from Hiro, but he's unable to. And this is where Angoramon doesn't lose a beat. Angoramon jumps into action and tries to catch Dracomon in order to save Ruri, but to no avail, because Dracomon is like, "Yep, you're very, very slow, you're very, very weak." So a fight ensues because Gamamon goes after Dracomon as well. And Dracomon needs the bracelet. He's like, "Hiro, I need you to give me the bracelet." And Hiro's like, "But you won't be able to use it, you can't even touch it." And Dracomon is like, it doesn't matter. I'll find an evil human person. And I'm like, okay, as a Digimon, so even Dracomon has realized that there are evil human beings out there, a bad person. He's like, "I'll use a bad person and I'll partner up with that bad person and then I'll be materialized." And Hiro is like, "So how are you going to take this vital bracelet to that particular person?" And Dracomon is like, "You're the one who's going to give it to me." And this is where he ends up using his powers on Hiro, and he ends up putting Hiro under his own control, and he orders Hiro to give the bracelet to him. And as Hiro is making his way towards Dracomon with the bracelet, Ruri comes in, and Ruri is like, "Hiro, you need to stop this. Like, don't do this." And yeah, Dracomon ends up putting Gamamon under his control as well. And he's like, "Gamamon, get the bracelet, attack Ruri," and all of that stuff. And Angoramon comes in, and Angoramon is like, not on my watch. So he is able, it turns out that if you hit a person that's under Dracomon's control, they'll snap out of it. And that's what Angoramon is able to do by hitting Gamamon and then asking Gamamon to help break Hiro out of Dracomon's control. So it is a success. Ruri gets the vital bracelet from Hiro, and she is like, okay, now what? And Dracomon is like, "Now you give it to me. Come on now." And we get this scene where, again, Hiro and Gamamon are put under Dracomon's control again. And Angoramon is like, "Ruri, you need to wear the bracelet." And Ruri does do that. After she wears the bracelet, she has to activate it through this card. But because she wore it, she is able to see Angoramon and also hear him. And Angoramon is like, "Ruri, you need to materialize me right now, because I can't help you unless you materialize me." And all of this is very, very new to Ruri, so I can understand her being very slow when it comes to helping Angoramon materialize. And I really like the scene where Hiro, because he's a human, he's walking towards Ruri, and Angoramon, who's still a Digimon at this point, hasn't materialized fully. He is unable to stop Hiro from making his way towards Ruri, and Ruri is like and Ruri is very moved by when she sees Angoramon doing all of this to protect her, and Ruri is like, Angoramon, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to protect me? And Angoramon is like, it's just because I like you playing the piano, and I want to continue listening to you play. And yeah, that really gets to Ruri. She kind of blushes as well. I think she likes other people acknowledging her for her piano skills. Maybe her parents don't, and Angoramon doing that really makes her like Angoramon or something. Maybe that's what's happening. So yeah, Ruri is like, okay, you know what? I'm here for it. I'm down for it. You're my Digimon now. So she ends up materializing Angoramon. And Angoramon ends up attacking Hiro, and I'm like, Angoramon, that was a very, in my opinion, that was a very unnecessarily strong hit. It looked like it. I'm like, you could have been more gentler when it comes to snapping Hiro out of it. But yeah, it works. Hiro is out of Dracomon's control. Gamamon is out of Dracomon's control, and Dracomon runs away because, as far as he's concerned, Angoramon isn't fast enough or strong enough to capture him. But it turns out that because Angoramon is now sharing this bond with Ruri, he gets this speed and power boost, and Ruri is like, yep, let's go in. She ends up yelling double lariat, which Angoramon uses on Dracomon, and then I think there's this Phaon dump attacks, which Angoramon also uses. So we get to see Angoramon use 2 attacks in a single episode, and that defeats Dracomon. And Dracomon ends up apologizing. He's like, yeah, please accept my apology. I won't do this again, and all of that stuff. And I'm like, kids, are you really going to listen to Dracomon say all of this? But it turns out that they do accept his apology, because before going, Dracomon ends up giving his evil eyes to Hiro, and he's like, I won't do this again, and bye. So it turns out that all of the people that Dracomon was playing these harmful pranks on, they end up going back to normal. The woman whose hair was growing, it goes away, like she's back to her original hairstyle. The person who was in an accident and damaged or injured his leg, his leg is all right and all of that stuff. And yeah, we get the scene where Ruri is like, oh, Angoramon, I think I'm going to like you. And she hugs Angoramon, who is very fluffy, and Gamamon comes in too. And then we get to see Angoramon basically say that, okay, so crime and punishment are determined after the dust settles. So he's like, after we have dealt with a confrontation, a problem, that after that, we decide the consequences of those actions. And Hiro's kind of confused about Angoramon saying that, because he's like, what are you talking about? So yeah, Angoramon is like, I guess Angoramon is into learning from humanity. So the episode basically ends with Dracomon just laughing, and he's like, oh, those scared saw, I fooled them. I have a whole lot of evil eyes, and I'm going to continue using them. And I'm like, you know what? It was expected, because in episode number 2, Hiro ended up basically letting Mummymon just walk away after harming a whole lot of people unintentionally, but Mummymon still harmed people. He kidnapped them. And then Hiro ended up letting Dracomon go just like that. So I'm like, Hiro, like, these kids really need to realize and understand that, you know what, sometimes you just can't trust Digimon. But yeah, it was an enjoyable episode. I liked it. So I guess only Kyoshiro is left. From the preview of the next episode, I don't think that Kyoshiro will be part of the group right now. I think he might end up being a part in episode number 5 or 6. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I will be doing a written review of this for the Geeky Edit. The link to that will be down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of Digimon Ghost Game Season number 1, episode number 3. I enjoyed it. I'm glad that Ruri and Kyoshiro are now a team. Not Kyoshiro, Hiro. Hiro and Ruri are a team, and I'm looking forward to Kyoshiro joining them. And also the fact that Angoramon ended up selecting Ruri because he liked her playing the piano. I kind of understand that, but I'm also like, why these 3 kids? Why did these 3 kids end up forming these bonds with these Digimon? Like in the Digimon Adventure, the Chosen Ones, we knew about this entire prophecy, and we knew that which kid was supposed to get which which Digimon because of the crests and all of that stuff. But why these 3 kids? I hope there's an explanation because we still don't know what the big picture is when it comes to the main narrative arc of Digimon Ghost Game and why these three kids were chosen. But yeah, let me know what you thought down in the comment section below, and until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later.